Hey everyone, this is another Green Dragons Gaming Club report. Without us, they never feel like winners. Without them, we couldn't look so good. This is another Pretty Boy Bat Rep, and this is Game 2 of Brawler Bash. And my Orcs and Goblins are going against the Warriors of Dark God's army. I'm playing Landon Johnson in round 2. This is my list. It's the same as before, obviously. Feel free to pause and look it over. And this is Landon's army. We had the diagonal deployment type. So this is where he's set up. I'll go over his list real quick. On the right side, he has a unit of 10 warriors. They have no mark, and they have paired weapons, so they can reroll panic checks. Then that giant wolf-looking thing is actually a blood beast, so it gains either his demon prince or his general's weapon skill, which is pretty nice. Behind that, he has a unit of 6 chosen. They have halberds. Then it's a really cool looking model. It's this big monster and it has a shotgun. It's his Hellscream cannon. Then he's got his BSB mounted on a chariot. Then he's got a big old block of warriors, I think 24 strong, and they're pestilence with halberds. And he has his general on a palanquin in there. He's got a couple units of hounds up front. He has a regular chariot in the back. He's got a unit of crusher knights, a demon prince that also is a wolf theme, and then all the way on the other flank is his chimera. And then he has another unit of hounds that he vanguarded up. For this game, we actually both picked the same card, I believe. It's the card where if we control table quarters at the end of the game, we get an extra 1,000 victory points. Now, I chose this card in particular because he only has 3 scoring units, which most of the time my opponents will outnumber me in the number of scoring units they have. So I figured this was my best chance at completing this one. So we'll see how that goes. And the in-game gimmick that you have is you can vanguard a lone character or a core unit. This is my side. My strategy, again, since I have the range advantage, is to sit back a little bit. I have a hill, which is perfect for my orcs with crossbows. Keep my artillery back, and he has to come to me. So he's a very target-rich environment. He has a lot of monsters. I need to take them out. And his warrior's block is just terrifying. So I gotta get the right matchups. I gotta try and outmaneuver him a little bit and do my best to chaff him up with those grotlings. So I've got Pac-Man up against the wall. I have my grotlings in front of him. I have my wolf chariots all the way up with the ferals supporting. Got my trolls looking out towards the right. Scrap wagon behind them, and then my backlines, I got my goblins, my orcs with crossbows, a Nash wrecking team, and then my artillery. And my general and my BSB are sitting behind the hill because the Hellscream cannon, it's a catapult essentially, but it does have, I think, strength 8 or strength 7 at least, and it will do D3 wounds, so no sense taking the risk. Put them behind the hill so you can't see them. And then I'm putting both my monsters on this other side because he has 2 monsters facing off, so I have to deal with that. So my giant and my gargantuan spider are over there, and then I put my National Wrecking Team all the way out there to deal with those warriors because I don't want them coming down my flank. I vanguard Pac-Man up in front of the woods. And I believe I actually decided to take first turn this game, so I set things up, and this is my movement. So the wrecking team moves forward a little bit. My spider and the giant just get into better position, so as he comes up, they can get an easy charge range. Pac-Man, I believe, just kind of sits there. In Magic, I use Pyromancy to get rid of the hounds, and then I put an immolation down there. You know, his hounds can easily move around it, but it's more for his warriors. That's going to either make him have to go around it, or if he goes through it, he's going to have to take an area effect for it, strength 4, so not bad there. Then we go into his turn, and his Blood Beast moves up pretty aggressively. He doesn't seem afraid. I think he's setting up counter charges as well, because everything stays back a little bit. And then on his right side, yeah, he doesn't care. He's just moving stuff up as fast as he can. He knows he has to engage with me, and he definitely has the units to do it. I really don't have an answer for a lot of his stuff one-on-one. I have to multi-charge or get into flanks. So that's how the board looks. And he has magic. He has shamanism, and unfortunately he gets totemic summons off. The only reason I let it go though is because he did miscast, and nothing really bad happens though, unfortunately. So he got a really good spell off, and now I have this pain in the ass in my backfield. So we go into my turn, and I don't know if this is really worth doing or not, but I swift reform with the orcs with crossbows, hoping maybe I can kill the totemic summons off. I move Pac-Man back because he's not really in a good position to take anything on just yet. I move the Grotlings up to do some chaff work. I charge my Spider and my Giant into the Blood Beast. I figure between the two of them they should easily take it out. My Scrap Wagon starts to move up the flank in case the Wrecking Team can't deal with those warriors. And what else? On magic, I think I do like a Scorching Salvo or something like that. I kill a couple warriors, no big deal. And I do 1 wound to the totemic summons. And then shooting, Git Launcher hits his BSB on the chariot and is able to do a wound. And that's really about it. My orcs or crossbows can't kill the totemic summons, which is sad, because I'm going to start losing war machines. Go into combat, and yeah, the Spider and the Giant easily take down the Blood Beast. My Ned takes a couple wounds for his trouble, but I'm okay with that. And overrunning would not have been a good decision, so I just reform here to keep everything in the front. Go into Warrior's turn 2, and he's happy making that trade, so he sends both of these units in. Yeah, not the greatest matchups. Both of my units are stubborn, but I think 4 wounds from that chariot and his BSB is not unreasonable for him to do, so I think the Giant's dead. The Spider I'll have to see about. Totemic Summon goes into my Git Launcher. He actually hits with his Hellscream Cannon, but I think it was on the second attempt, so it was a lower strength. He just kills 3 orcs off. And then he kills 3 more. His Chimera moves up very aggressively. My Feral Orcs can't see it. It's a good move, and he Breath Weapons the unit, takes out 3. And the Totemic Summon kills the Git Launcher. This is sort of the rest of his movement. So he charges my Chaffing Grotlings with his Hounds, and I actually kill a couple. I mean, he kills off a whole base between wounds and combat res, but now he's kind of stuck there, and his Crushers are chaffed up by his own unit. So good job, Grotlings. And then, yeah, Ned does take it on the chin. He dies, which is unfortunate. And then, in the Spider combat, I take 5 wounds, which is rough. Chosen with Halberds is not fun. I do kill a couple off, though, and I do hold on my stubborn check, which is very nice. So we go into Orcs and Goblins turn 3. National Wrecking Team goes through, only kills about half the unit. I was hoping to do a little bit more. He passes his panic check, no problem. And then my Wolf Chariots really didn't have a lot of places to go. I needed them out of the way, and I figured charging his chariot, that should be enough to either kill it or break it. So I charge there, and I move Pac-Man up into his flank now that the Chimera isn't there to countercharge. and just shimmy stuff around. I decide it's no longer worth my time to shoot the totemic summon, so I switch reform again with the crossbows. My BSB turns now is going to try to shoot him with his shotgun. And that's what the board looks like. The Chimera, I'm just going to have to deal with between my Pyro Magic shooting and then maybe throwing Mad Gits at it. Get Scorching Salvo off. I do a wound to the Chimera, which is great, because it ignores his regen. And I kill a Hound. Might do a couple extra wounds to the Warriors. Nothing too crazy. And then I throw a Pyroclastic Flow, and Twitch kills his Chimera off, which is great. It's a huge relief for me. And then you'll notice that something's missing here. My Catapult fires next and gets a direct hit onto his BSB. He fails his ward save and just flattens his BSB in that Chariot, which is fantastic. Very lucky on my part. You go into combat. I am able to peel off another Chosen before he gets the swing, but he's able to do the 3 wounds to kill my Spider off, which is sad. This combat does not go as expected. My Chariots only do a couple wounds, and he actually does 3 to me. So we tie because I charged. So that's bad. Meanwhile, my Grotlings are still doing okay. They actually kill off a couple more Hounds. He does some wounds to me, but that's fine. Those Crushers are still chaffed up. We go into Warriors of the Dark Gods turn 3, and he charges his Demon Prince into my Feral Orcs. Nothing I can do about it. He needed an average roll. He made it. And then he just throws his Hounds into the Nasher Wrecking Team to get rid of it. In Magic, he gets +1 strength off on his Chariot. Not much I can do. It's better than getting something off on his Demon Prince or another Totemic Summon. Unfortunately, though, the attribute goes on to his Demon Prince because that's his caster, so I'm going to really have a hard time wounding him. So I do the smart thing and I sacrifice my champion. And I'm steadfast, and I reform to get as many ranks as possible. So hopefully I can keep holding my steadfast until I have an answer for that Demon Prince, because he is no joke. And then, the best moment of the entire game, probably the entire tournament, my Grotlings actually kill something. They kill off his Hounds. Oh, so proud of those little guys. Unfortunately, though, you can see that my Chariots are missing. Yeah, his Chariot finished them off. Oh, that was disappointing. And then his Totemic Summon had gone into my Catapult to seek revenge for killing his BSB. He takes 1 wound from the crew, but kills it off, and then overruns into the flank of my General, which I'm not worried about. My General will kill him, but that's just annoying, because now he's held up for another turn for basically a free model. So we go into my turn, and my Cave Trolls want to get into the action. They're going to finish off this right flank here and get those Chosen points for me. The Scrap Wagon fails to get into the Warriors to finish them off. It falls an inch short, so that's unfortunate. Pac-Man, now that the Grotlings have cleared the chaff, is going to charge the Crusher Knights, because it's definitely better than him charging me. I do take a DT, and I fail at going through the woods, of course. And let's see. Meanwhile, down here, I just move my BSB over. There's really not much else going on. I move the Grotlings to chaff up the Chariot. Yeah. I get off, I think, Enveloping Embers, but it really doesn't do that much to the Warriors. Then we go into combat, and yeah, Pac-Man goes to town. He has the Obsidian Sword, so he's getting no armor saves. I pop the Potion of Strength, so he's Strength 6. I kill one outright. I might do a wound extra onto another one. he only does 1 wound to me, and he breaks and I run him down. So that's a huge chunk of points there. Good job, Pac-Man. And, sorry, this picture's actually on his turn. I was having trouble with my phone at this point. I was running out of space, so I took some of these pictures late, but yeah, he charges the chaff with his chariot. And then what happened over here was my trolls won combat by a landslide. He only had like 1 guy left. I tried to restrain, but I'm too far away from my general because of the stupid totemic summons. And so I had to chase. I chase him down so I get the full points, but I have to stop short of the building, which puts them in the compromising position that they're in, leading the cannon and his warriors with his general to charge like so. So that unit's going to be gone. And the warriors charge the scrap wagon, so he's going to pick up those points as well. And meanwhile, in case you were wondering, my general did kill off the totemic summons, so that's something. And in Magic, I think he gets a spell like +1 strength off on his Demon Prince. Either that or it's the Scarification. I can't remember which. We go into combat. He doesn't do as many as I would have thought. I'm still steadfast. And during my shooting phase, I decide I'm just going to throw mad gets through this unit. The one actually falls short. The one goes through, does 1 wound to his Demon Prince. I take a couple wounds on the unit. I thought it was a good idea, especially if I got both through. I have a decent chance of doing enough to him that I just need to slip 1 wound through to kill him. So, that's an interesting tactic. It's a very vermin swarmy tactic. And going into combat, yeah, the warriors kill my scrap wagon. That's that. I'm running out of guys. And he kills off the chaff there. And not surprisingly, he beats the trolls and he runs them down. Which is a nice chunk of points, but now his guys are all the way over there, so they're not really much of a threat at this point. Then on my turn, I do something silly. So I charge the chariots with my goblins. That, I think, was a good move. The problem is that I lined them up without thinking. My casters at the edge of the unit, I could have easily lined up the 4 goblins in a way that he wouldn't be in combat. I didn't, though, and he does 2 wounds and kills my mage. So, that was really sad. Again, it doesn't hurt me that I lose the points, but it hurts me that I'm losing magic for the next couple turns. I do pick up the points for the chariot, though. And then I charge my BSB into the flank of his Demon Prince. The reason I did this is for the combat res. I'm getting charge, flank, banner. And I do have a 1-up armor save, a toughness 5, and I can re-roll it once. So I challenge, he has to accept. He only does 1 wound to me. I end up winning combat, but he's a Demon Prince, he's unbreakable, he has like demonic instability, but he's stubborn. So I think he only takes a wound for his trouble. So I really need to get my general in there. Just continuing this combat, going into his turn, he's able to kill off my BSB, which is no bueno. But I had enough combat res to stick. In his magic phase, he got off the curse on my goblins, which is a good move because I need to actually march my goblins into his deployment zone so I can not only get the extra points for that, but also to help secure table quarters. And so I take the risk and I march them, and I actually lose 1/3 of the unit, which is pretty average based on what I should be losing. I got lucky though, and I passed my leadership test, so they don't flee, and they do succeed in marching to the other side, and yeah, getting me those extra points, and maybe winning the objective. I figure because I can't reach them, the only thing I can do is to start pummeling this unit with all the shooting I have left between the crossbows and my Git launcher, and I actually do enough wounds that they panic. They don't have a reroll. And that's just a shot from my Git launcher. did the extra couple wounds that made them panic, which is awesome. And then, yeah, I charge my general into the flank. We do the challenge thing again. I only do 1 wound to his Demon Prince. I don't think he does anything to me. I'm hoping he dies on his check, and he doesn't. He's able to pass it, so that's unfortunate. And then this is the last picture of the game. I throw Pac-Man into his Hellscream Cannon. I do a couple wounds. He doesn't do anything back to me. So unfortunately, I couldn't quite get him. On his turn, he rallies with his warriors. I do enough that I think I get half points for the unit, maybe. But yeah, so they rally, so that's a bunch of points. He gets to save, and that's the end of the game. So, this is an Orc and Goblin victory. I got roughly 5,500 points. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The first game I took a picture of the actual score sheet that we used, which was smart, and then I decided to forget to do that for every game after for the rest of the tournament. So it is around 5,500 points, but those are not the exact points. And I think Landon got between 2,500 and 2,700 points, something around there. And I think I did get enough to secure the objective, which was to get table quarters. So pretty happy with this win, with the way it turned out. 5,500 points is definitely an improvement. Could have been a little better. It was frustrating, actually, that his unit of warriors chased down the trolls where they did, and then they continued to flee the one turn, because it really put them out of reach. I couldn't get those points. And then I was really hoping I'd get the Demon Prince. Him living, I got half points for him, but still, that was a lot of points I missed out on. But I really can't complain. I executed the battle plan I had in mind going into this, and it worked out pretty well. Landon was a great guy, really fun opponent. We had a good time. Going into the MVPs, his chariot really impressed me. I mean, I charged his chariot with 2 of my chariots, and he just took it on the chin and whooped him. And then, even though my goblins ended up killing him off, that chariot killed my mage, which was like another 550 points. So I think that was the one unit that actually overperformed for him. For me, I think I had a lot of units do pretty well, kind of what I would expect them to do, but Pac-Man taking out a whole unit of Crusher Knights is just impressive. Yeah, I don't think people would expect that from him, but he's a bruiser, and he's a flying bruiser, so I give him credit for that. That was really helpful. I almost could have given it to the Grotlings this game for killing those hounds and chaffing his lines up. Oh, it was so great. And then I'll quickly go over what I learned from this game. So, one of the first things I'll say is that artillery is still relevant. I think that there's a lot of mixed feelings about Orc and Goblin artillery. I like our artillery a lot, and I won't spoil it, but this game, as well as other games that I've played with it, if you take a couple pieces of artillery, they can be really helpful. And this game kind of showed that for a couple reasons. One, I'm playing Warriors of the Dark Gods. He doesn't have much range at all, besides his Hellscream Cannon. So having my artillery really put him in a position where he had to come to me. And looking at this game, he had so many monsters in such a target-rich environment. I'm really glad I had the artillery to help out. Killed his BSB with it, and I panicked his one unit of warriors with the Git launcher the one turn, and they just helped like pick off a couple wounds here and there. You're not always going to roll well with them, so you're sometimes going to misfire and do different things, but they have a psychological effect on your opponent in terms of board control, and they're also really good. I mean, catapults are still good. When they hit, and Git launchers are consistent because you're getting rerolls. So I'm happy with that. The Hellscream Cannon, this is the first time I've played in the 9th Age a Hellscream Cannon. And I don't think I would see this in a Warriors list at a normal game or at a normal tournament. I think it's just because it's 6,000. I'm seeing one. And I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't think, based on this game, it's that good. Because it's move or fire, and it's like, okay, you have a really good catapult, but it's a monster. So it's sort of trying to fulfill two different roles, and I don't like that. It would almost be better if it was just a straight-up artillery piece, or it was a monster. And it has frenzy, and I don't know, it's just kind of a wonky thing. But if any of you guys have any thoughts on this or different experiences, let me know. And then, yeah, I found a new strategy for Mad Gets. I didn't want to lose the Feral Orcs, if I could help it. But again, it's Brawler Bash. It really doesn't matter what I lose. It only matters what I have to gain. So, in that situation, yeah, I'll throw Mad Gets into that unit with his Demon Prince. That would have been hilarious if I could have killed it off that way. Didn't happen, but I thought it was an interesting strategy. So that's something new that maybe I'll have to try in the future. Kind of like the old Vermin strategy. If you throw slaves into something and then you just toss grenades into the unit, I could throw maybe a unit of goblins, a different unit of goblins, or a cheap unit of orcs or something like that, and then just throw Mad Gets into the combat and against something really expensive. I don't know. Just food for thought. And then I didn't include it here, but my Grotlings, I think, are really impressive. It's a great unit. They scout and vanguard. They're swarms, so I don't have to worry about them panicking. And they can really chaff up your opponent's lines, and I think this game was a good indicator of that. Because he didn't want to charge them with Crusher Knights, because they're frenzied, so he'd have to overrun, and that puts them in a compromising position. So they ended up getting chaffed up by their own unit, and then that allowed Pac-Man to do his thing. So, yeah, it's just one of those underutilized, I think, units that surprise you. So, that's all I've got for this game. As always, if you have any comments, please leave them below. About things I could do differently with the videos, or what you like, don't like, any tactics, anything like that. Feel free to post them. Like, subscribe, do all those YouTube type things. And thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. And I'll post Game 3 pretty soon. Alright, have a good night.